Joe Biden emerges from the voting station having cast an early ballot, joining his opponent Donald Trump, who voted in Florida last week. They're not the only ones. 6 days out from Election Day, a record 70 million Americans have cast their votes early, amounting to half the total number of ballots recorded in 2016. Biden chose to stay in his hometown, holding a meeting with health professionals to discuss the ongoing pandemic.
Almost the entire nation is worsening at this point.
Shaking his head at what he heard, and afterwards lashing out at a president he contends has given up trying to contain the pandemic.
It seems like he just doesn't care much about it. And the longer he's in charge, the more reckless he gets. It's enough. It's time to change.
Reports emerging during the day indicate that President Trump and his advisors were seeking political capital out of the pandemic as far back as April. In a recorded interview with journalist Bob Woodward, Jared Kushner reveals that his father-in-law, in his words, was getting the country back from the doctors. Kushner was referring to Donald Trump's insistence on ending the lockdown as soon as possible. He was tweeting support for anti-lockdown protests at a time that Americans were dying at the rate of some 2,000 a day. Kushner says he and Trump focused on what would help the president on Election Day. By their calculations, he contended, Trump would be seen as the open-up president, which would give him a boost in the polls. And on the campaign trail, President Trump continues to insist there's too much focus on the coronavirus and rails against the mitigating measures health experts insist on.
Under Biden's cruel and senseless lockdowns, countless Americans will die from suicide, drug overdose, deferred medical care, alcoholism. We got to open up Pennsylvania, we got to open up North Carolina, got to open up California, got to open up New York.
The pandemic has dominated this election process like no other subject, and ultimately this vote may well turn into a referendum on how well or how badly the sitting president has responded. Mike Hanna, Al Jazeera, Washington.